Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to the opening round of the Evolution Sim Racing Super Formula Light mini-series, being hosted for the first time tonight at the home of motorsports and the home of the British Grand Prix here at the Silverstone circuit. We have a host of new drivers and returning drivers out on track tonight in what promises to be some very entertaining open wheel racing for the first time here at ESR. So my name is Joseph Glass, and as always, I'm delighted to join you all from the commentary box as we look ahead to our standard race format of two 30-minute sprint races. And without the sort of usual formalities to attend to, we'll shortly join the drivers at trackside right into the action as they head out on their first of 4 qualifying laps. So without further ado, let's head down to trackside, see who's going to claim that first full pole position of this 4-week mini championship. So a small glimpse there at the timing tower from qualifying, so from the practice session. But that won't give the game away. Ahead of 4 laps tonight, usual what we used to do, actually, but not what we've done for a while. We normally just have the 3 laps around in the GT4s. So, just me back in the box tonight. It feels like a hell of a long time since I've done this on my little lonesome, but it'll certainly be good. A series which I was keen to get off the ground, and it's good to see that it's finally here. So, first man on track is Mr. Sean Clark. And why waste any time? Let's get him on straight away. We've got Mr. Virtual Reality himself. Here he is. Here he is. He'll be absolutely loving it. In fact, let's go to Gyro. This will give us a better idea about what Sean is seeing right now as he heads out on our very first outlap here in any open wheel series at Evolution Sim Racing. And for those of you who've never done virtual reality sim racing before, I mean, it's indescribable, to be honest. It's one of the best things I've done in any game, I'd say, ever. Better than normal virtual reality, in my opinion, because you're seated, so you can really trick yourself into thinking that you're in the cockpit. Sean will be looking now through that halo at the apex curb at Copse Corner, getting some tyre temperature and the brake temperature up as he prepares to head off on his first qualifying lap through Maggots now and into Beckett's and then into Chapel Corner and down the Hanger Straight. He's got a couple of braking zones to go before he sets away on his first lap. Got some new liveries as well, as you might guess, to pick out as well. And here he goes then, Sean Clark with us crossing the line. And a couple of other drivers making their way out. We've got Joseph Preston and Aman Lal, who are also heading through the village section now. Let's take a look at some of these liveries then. So here is Mr. Preston. He's coming round down through Brooklands and Luffield. It's a lovely Dallara, the Honey Bomb. Fair enough, a nice livery there. I'd be interested to know how many of these are custom and how many have maybe been nabbed off trading paints. But this is a very, very good start. Here's Ashley in that custom sort of McLaren Golf style livery, which is suitable for these cars, no doubt. Some purple sector times coming in then. It's Mike Farlow with the fastest sector 2. We've got Aman Lal in the Sector 3 and Sector 4. And it's Will Soper who's set the fastest sector time, but that's been beaten by Mike Fowler, who was the first man to cut the beam, and he's the first man to set the provisional pole time in the Premier Division. We're seeing the times flying in now. It's a 1:50.8 to beat, less than half a tenth down by Jens Tishby, but Aman Lal comes across the line and beats that. It's a 50.6, 2.5 tenths the gap there. Filip Kolotsky comes across with a 52.1, so currently best part of a second and a half separating the two provisional pole men in each of their classes, and it's Danny Weir, the 55 DXT machine, who's a half a tenth behind Filip, sharing the front row of the grid, and then a massive 7/10 gap down to Joseph Preston in P3. Is Michael Statovic, I'm going to go with Statovic, who is a debutant with ESR, making his way around on his second flying lap in what looks to be a little bit of an alternative Ferrari livery there. It's got very similar branding, Shell and Richard Mill. Ray-Ban exactly, but yeah, not the Ferrari red that we're used to seeing, so a little play on that Ferrari. Only half the drivers yet to set a lap. We've got 33 drivers with us tonight, which is a great turnout, I must say. For the first session, we sold 45 of the 60 seats, and 2/3 of that 45 are with us tonight, so a great turnout. I was going to be optimistic to even just get 15 or 20 drivers in with us, obviously setting the bar a little bit low, and now we've surpassed 30, and that is a great start and bodes well for the opening of the season. We've got 3 drivers there in the Premier class within a tenth, but it's all changed there as Mikel Maceda comes across the line. He covers P2 at the moment, 4 1,000ths of a second ahead of Mike Fowler. And Joseph Preston drops Philippe down into the second position. He takes provisional pole position. Also Brayton back and Tristan Engelstadt come onto the timing sheets. They're in P11 and P12, and we're seeing now, let's see, we've got Luis Nevea, who's just started his first lap, first eyes on his livery. We'll have to try and give some of these guys a little glimpse before we get into the first race. And here is Nick Stubby, my teammate in GT3, a guy who I've raced alongside quite a lot over the last 6 months or so. This will be Nick's 3rd season, if you count this as a full season. He's entered GT Season 5, GT3 Season 6, and now trying his hand at the Super Lights in a little alternate glass tech livery there. So credit to Nick for repping the team even when I'm up here in the commentary box. I promise we won't be biased. Maybe I can't promise that, actually. And we've got Matt Jones as well, who's not going to be with us for the first couple of weeks, but he might make an appearance toward the end of the season. He'll be partnering with Nick toward the end of the season. And he crossed the line there. I missed him there. Nick leads. The number 69 machine crosses the line, and that is the provisional pole time in the Evo class. We've got Joe Sparrow, who's about to come around the final corner. Here he is around Club Corner. He crosses the line in that JSD green livery. That's enough for P15 at the moment in the Premier Division. The times bouncing all over the place. Marianne Barberu. I'll get that off him later in the week. Marianne Barberu goes onto the second row of the grid in P4 as it stands, and you can see that Aman Lal there, 3/10 clear of any other driver, but the rest of the times very close together, most of which separated by thousandths, if not hundredths of a second, which is something that we can come to expect from these kinds of machines. Here's a look at Steve Farrell for the first time, as he heads through the Maggots Beckett section now. Dropping down a gear into 4th. And over the line. I'm going to follow on with somebody. Just going to have a full lap. A lot of these guys coming toward the end of their qualifying session. Here's the current pole man though. Armin Lal in the Get Good livery there. Making his way down the hangar straight for what will be the final time. Is he up on his time? We'll soon see as he crosses the 80% point in the lap. It should be as he exits Stowe Corner. Should see him just popping up on the timing sheet. We'll get a good idea, and never mind, there he is off. Pushing a little bit too hard. He'll be hopeful that the guys Mikel behind and Mike don't improve, and it looks like they haven't improved. That's Mike Dunn. He did close down the gap just to a 1/10.5, but not enough to catch up. Who else is about to cross the line? Marianne. Is he about to cross the line? Yes, he is. He comes around Club Corner for the first time. Is he going to disrupt the front row of the grid? Is it going to be a valid lap time? Yes, it is, but it's not an improvement for him. Here's Marcel Brayton back. He's about to finish as he comes around the final corner. Currently in P13, just 4 1,000ths of a second. He did improve ever so slightly, but in the meantime, John Brayton back, I think, took that position. And let me see what I can do about this as well. Let me fix this one thing. There we go. Get all the drivers on the display. Here comes Mr. Next Stubby. Down into the final significant braking zone on the track. Through Vale, through Club. Gets his foot to the floor. I'm assuming that's flat out. In fact, it is. He's up a gear at the apex. He's lost the front row. He's lost pole position and he's unable to reclaim it. Danny Weir at the moment, the man who is on the front. Luis Nevea still has this lap and one more to go, so he's got plenty of opportunities. Here comes Mark Robinson. He's making his debut with us tonight as well, and he said that I'm not sure if he's done league racing before, and definitely not in single series. Mark comes across the line with a 52.69. We'll start towards the back of the grid, but it's what I think he expected from his session tonight. Mike has also stopped on track. Here's Jan Sitchbury, the first of the ORA machines. We haven't caught up with Owen Seward yet, but that purple machine looking very good as he heads down the hangar straight for what will be his penultimate lap. Actually, Yayan Luis Nevea still going to be in a good position. Josh Ostick, he's halfway through his final lap as well. Will probably be making himself down the Wellington straight now. Let's see, where is he? No, he's heading through Cops already. And Luis Nevea, I think he's just improved his time. Currently P9 in class, P26 overall, and good support for the current Evo poleman and Danny Weir, who takes what could be his first pole position in a long time at least. Let's ride on board then with Mr. Josh Ostick. He's just 8 100ths of a second away from the man in front, less than a 10th away from a couple of positions ahead. Let's take a look at the times from the as a gap, so we can see a couple of tenths would do him here. Is he going to get it? He hasn't improved in any of the sectors, and it looked a little bit squirrely there through Vale. Not going to be an improved time, I don't think. Yes, it is just an improved time by Josh. He moves himself up into P14. Here's Mike Richards, who comes across the line. He is going very slowly, and that will not be an improvement. Jan Sitchbury getting a practice start underway. Luis Nevea, he is still flying. He is the last man to finish on the circuit. Great shot as he appears over the crest through Maggots and Beckett's now Chapel. Running wide at the exit curb and down onto the hangar straight. Rumours already being started by Mr. Fellows that it's actually Francois Brandet on Danny's iRacing account. Maybe that's not what he quite meant, but that's what I'm going to take from it. Because the man who's found himself on pole position a hell of a lot this season in GT3 and GT4, it's now his teammate who starts the season very strong on the front row of the grid. Not an improvement by Luis Nevea, and that is going to be everybody, I think. Owen Seward, he's still on the track. He's coming back into the pit lane. It looks as though he's run out of fuel, or maybe he's just going very slowly and coming to a stop. We got John Brayton back, who is up to his usual shenanigans there. He's become the safety truck. Just needs to back it up a little bit if he really wants to sell that to us. But that's a safety truck with some extra downforce and an extra set of tyres, actually. But that could be critical for quick lap times when someone spins out, which will probably be going through turn 1, no doubt. Let's hope not, but there is a strong chance. 30 seconds to go then before we start gridding for the opening round here at Silverstone. Okay, let's take a look and a rundown at the standings then. It's Gianni Terha for Quad Dash Racing, who starts on pole position, a time of a 1:51.167, ahead of Richard van Ven, who is also making his debut in ESR for MRP. It's a Dutch front row lockout for those two drivers. Will Soper and Denzel Clarkson share the second row of the grid, with John Brayton back and Jan Stichbury on the third row. It's then Steve Exis Farrell and Dano Hammond, the Canadian driver, who set the fourth row of the grid. Marian Barberu and Mikel Mercada on the fifth row of the grid, with Mike Farley and Aman Lal down there in P12. Something tells me that there has been a mistake in the setup of the session, because that does not strike me as what is an accurate qualifying. I knew something would go wrong, but we're here now, so we deal with it. Marcel Brittenbach, Josh Ostick, Tristan Engelstad, Danny Weir, Owen Seward and Nick Stubby the top 18, with Mike Richards, Joe Sparra the top 20. We scroll through to see Andrew Fellows, Sean Clark, Ashley Brooks and Clyde Vella, Joseph Preston and Luis Nevea the top 26, with Stephen Donnelly, Philippe Kolodski, Patrick Heinen, Mike Stashevitz, Mark Robinson, Steve Derrick and Dennis Curler in P33. So we're just in time for the lights then, and it's Gianni Terha, who's clearly an unsuspecting pole sitter, and he gets the lights out and away we go. And we can see actually there, that's Will in his, you cannot miss that livery, can you? And it's a good start for the pole man, who gets himself away well and clear of the traffic already. Leading him behind, it's going to be 3 wide there. Heavy defence, who's that by? Is that Gianni Terha? Someone's round in the background as all the drivers make their way now through into the village section, scraping somewhere ahead, and that's Damo Hammond, who's round in a huge pile up there. More and more and more people doing barrel rolls and people just stopping in the middle of the circuit. Someone is upside down there, and I'm not sure what's going on here. That's more collisions than we're used to. There's Owen Seward trying to get that car rotated. I was just about to cut to him there, but it's gone already. The guys at the front seem to get away well, but lots and lots kicking off there. I wonder what triggered that, but more cars than you would expect as they all break down into turn number 4, into Village, I think, or into the loop, should I say. Toward the front though, it's Gianni Terha away on John Brayton back. Jan Stichbury through with Marianne Barberau and Mike Farley, the next top 5. And this pack of 4 really going strong here. 2 by 2 they go through Maggots and through Beckett's. Over the crest, and it's Tristan Engelstad right on the back of Josh Ostick as we head for the first time down the Hanger Straight. Moves to the inside line there. Tristan Engelstad looks to get the move done late on the brakes as Ostick around the outside looks to hold it. Room afforded by both drivers. And it's a well-held move there by Josh, actually, who holds the inside line. Looking for the switchback. Is Tristan has to just come off the power a little bit there. He's got a massive slipstream. Look at that. They're all sharing the same setup. Oh, that's a bit of a snap. Slight amount of oversteer there. But Tristan, is he going to look for a move? I think he probably will now. Into Village. Oh, a snap. He locked the rears there. Made the car wobble. And he's just gone off the circuit. And he's going to be pipped up there by Marcel Breitenbach, who's gone around the outside as they headed through the loop and now out through Aintree. Mark Robinson finding himself in P4 in class. He'll be satisfied with that start. Some of the big gainers, he is one of them. 10 places gained by Mark at the start. Dennis Curler gaining 11. Josh Ostick 7 in the Premier class, so a good start by a handful of these drivers, and it would have been the likes of Weir, Mike Richards and Ashley Brooks who've cost themselves at the start of that. In a moment we'll go back to see what happened. Ecklenstad and Breitenbach battling through Copse Corner. That was an inside move there, I think, by Engelstad to get that move done. Lovely, lovely stuff. And Joe Sparrow thinking about this as well. Around the outside, it's nearly 3 wide as he headed through Maggots there. But he backed out just in time. And who's that off? Someone's gone off, maybe just hitting the dirt. No, it's not Marcel Breitenbach. Contact there between two of them. Jean has got an issue. Is that the two Breitenbachs who've gone off? Yes, it is. Both of the Breitenbach drivers in similar fashion go off at the exit of Chapel. Lots and lots of carnage opening this race, and we can see that's going to invite pressure. Nearly 4 wide between these drivers. Who's that on the inside line? That was our pole man, I believe, who probably feels a little bit hard done by, and rightfully so. As I said in the chat earlier, something was bound to go wrong when setting up these sessions, but it was the inverted top 12 was supposed to be for the feature race. But this is the whole point of a trial series, to iron out these little mistakes. We've all been there. And he's got a fight on his hands now to get back up. This pack of 5 or 6 cars really going to struggle to separate one another. Jean defending the inside line there, and he's got a bit of damage. I think he's a little bit slow. Nice wide entry by a man. He's got a car to his outside. He's going to think about sticking the wheel up the inside. No, he's not. That's Ostick, I think, going slowly. No, it's Dennis Curl. No, it's not. Is that a blue flag? It's a blue flag of Owen Seward going slowly in the middle of this pack. John Breitenbach has a little bit of a run now. Jinx to the inside line. Got to be early on the brakes, late on the brakes, looking for 2 moves and 1 against the blue flagger, which is probably the right thing to do. Get some cars in between him and his competition. Someone spun round ahead there. That's Mark Robinson, who's gone off the circuit. He's dropping a few positions, and that's Ashley Brooks. Nearly got tagged there by Dennis Curler on the exit of Woodcote. Hustle and bustle up and down the track here. Drivers swapping positions. We've got Marianne now, who's got his eyes ahead on these 2 drivers for the podium positions. It's Mikael, Mike and Marianne in P3, 4 and 5. A little slipstream there. Both of them dart to the outside line. Favoured position here probably for Marianne. He can take the normal line through this corner. Oh, and this is really going to be good for Marianne to get the switch back here on both of these guys in front. He's going to get the run. Oh, he had to just back out there. Parked it in the middle of the circuit, did Mike Fowler. And Jan Sitchbury sat in the fastest lap. Look at that, excessive defence on the inside there by Mikael Maceda. There's Tristan Engelstad all over the back of Josh Ostick, and there's a jostle for position still here while Marion looks on in the background. Is he going to set himself up with a good run down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands? Loving this movement from the defence, covering the inside line immediately, not allowing those guys to battle at all. And is this Marion up the inside there? Just about kept it out of trouble. This is going to be a battle that continues on for some time, I would guess. Joe Sparrow has just got past Hammond. Oh, and very, very narrow there. So let's bring him up again, why not, with us for the first time on driver cams. Full focus, let's watch him as he heads through Copse Corner. Watch his head there, jink to the right, as it does, looking toward that apex curb. Gets it tucked in nicely, and Sean up 10 places off the start. And he's currently sitting in P2 in class, so a great drive so far by the DXT 68 machine. He's breaking the fourth wall, that camera there, vibrating with the car itself. That must be his rig doing the damage there. Going a 3-car battle here. This is Clyde, Aman, and is that John Breitenbach? Yes, it is. It's kept away from the damage. These 3 drivers going side by side now, the 2 of them even. Clyde and Aman. Looking to swoop around the outside, and he does. That's the Five Rivers Racing driver, the 111, up into P14 overall, P12 on the circuit. Let's go back. Oh, let's not, because there's been another overtake here. This battle still going on. Marion has got past the pair of them, so we'll come back to see what happened there. But let's see if we can see what happened on the opening lap. This is them now coming through into Village. We've got eyes on a man who crashed first. He's got some drivers ahead. Goes off the circuit. Look at that on the grass. Off the circuit and on the grass. Denzel Clarkson, another driver involved. Where are we looking here? There's the Breitenbachs. Clarkson spins him round, and then that takes him into the quad dash machine. And then it's just a pile up. Nick makes contact. He's stood in the middle of the track. And then someone just drives straight into the back of him there and can't really avoid, and that just got worse and worse as it went on. And then I think there was a second exchange between Brooks and Donnelly. You can see the car there up the inside. Ashley turns in. That's, oh dear me, wow, that is a dramatic impact. That's, I think, Seward upside down, and Donnelly just has to get on with it. And then more contact there, and that's severe damage, and the suspension gone on that JSD machine. A less than ideal start, but we have seen worse, I won't lie. Definitely seen worse in our time. It's been a drama for Breitenbach as well. Is this from damage earlier on? Has he just lost the car up on the grass, loses the car into a spin? He can't collect it, and he's got to quickly get that spun round before anybody else comes around that corner. This is the move that we saw earlier that we missed, where Marianne got himself up past. He got a great exit on the exit of Chapel, moves to the outside line. Is he going to be able to get in front of these guys before we reach the braking zone, or is he going to actually swoop all the way around the outside? He is just ahead. One backs out, the second backs out, and Marianne makes a clean overtake to take the podium position. So, blue flags currently for Mr. Nick Stubb, Owen Seward, Marcel Breitenbach, Stephen Donnelly and Denzel Clarkson. So the 5 drivers really impacted by that opening lap sequence. And I'm interested to see when we conclude. Oh, that's a spin. That's Farrell off the Maltese driver, the 116. And he rejoins just about right. The drivers behind might have to avoid him here. He's got to pick a side. He stays right. And he's got Nick Stubb there, who was a lap down initially. Now passing these drivers. At the front, though, it's Johnny Tahar, who has a 2-second gap ahead of Jan Stitchbury, who's just entering the picture there. Still time. Then a huge gap of 6 seconds down to Marianne, but something tells me his lap times may improve now that he's out of the battling. Tristan Engelstad has entered the pit lane. Something's happened to him. That might be the damage that he picked up just earlier on the exit of Chapel. This is a completely different kettle of fish for these drivers. Some of them may never have driven open wheel single seaters on iRacing, never mind in a league setting. Who's that in behind? Patrick Hinder? No, it's a blue flag. That's Owen Seward, who just got himself out the way of those preceding drivers. And now we see Will Soper very close behind Danny Weir, getting himself through. He's going to be on the inside line as they break down into Brooklands. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see then if if we had an inverted top 12 to start the race. I will hope then that we just carry over the finishing positions from this race into the next race, but I'll definitely double check what went wrong with that inverse grid. Here is Danny trying to recover from that pole position dropout. He's down in P7 at the moment, quite a way off. Let's switch back to the leader gap so we can see how people are getting on in proximity to one another. Sausage curb there by Danny, got to be careful and cut that one fine. Don't want to run out too wide here. 4 sausage curbs on each of those entry and exit curbs. As he crosses over now onto the 7th lap of this race, nearly at half race distance. Very tricky on the brakes under these cars, such easy to snag a brake lock-up. That inside right in this case, or inside left in that case. And Danny on the power, nice and the stopping power compared to the GT cars, very strong. Obviously in this single-seater machine. Dennis Curler now under pressure from Ashley Brooks. Looking to potentially think about a move through Copse Corner. Let's see as they head into one of the highest speed corners on the circuit. Around the outside goes Ashley Rumerford. A great driving by the pair of them, and Ashley dips back into the slipstream, thinks about the outside line again, which what will become the inside line through Beckett. Is he going to leave a nose in there? No, he's not. Backs out. Great defence by Dennis Curler. As things stand, there's been an incident for Steve Farrell ahead, and we'll catch up with that in a moment. Looking at lap times then, Jan Stishbury looks like he's the fastest man on circuit of a time of a 50.54. Around the outside goes Ashley. Is he going to make that stick and take the position? Yes, he is. A great move through Stowe Corner there. Hasn't quite defended the inside line as well as I thought he would, but in the end, it doesn't make a difference, and he manages to stay ahead, and that's him up into P3 and on to the Evo Class podium. Here is Mr. Marianne, a former league sponsor of Get Good Racing, who offers those sim racing guides, which I've said a lot. I've almost got that sponsor message ingrained into my head the amount of times I said it throughout the course of the TCR season. But Marianne joins us on track for the first time in ESR, and he's wasted no time getting involved in the driver cam. So a very experienced driver, very experienced coach, with a very strong I rating as well, I believe, over 5,000. The highest rated iRating driver on this grid behind Mr. Yanis Olbay, who's not with us tonight. He's 6k, Marianne 5k, so high experience on track. It would be great to see those two battling if they share the track at some point this season. But good to see Marianne getting involved with the driver cams straight away, and we can see a very serious look on his face as he heads around, trying to reduce that deficit. But you can't even see Yain ahead. It's a 4.5 second gap, I think. He's going to just try to hang on to what he's got at the moment, knowing that he's got clean air in front and behind. Bit of a bounce over the sausage curb. The only battle on the circuit at the moment is these three drivers. We've got the blue flag of Owen Seward in between them. And Andrew Fellows maybe going to think about making a move. Remember, the blue flags can't defend. They aren't obliged to get out of the way, but they also are not allowed to defend a move here. So Andrew's entitled to send it, which he does. And well, he's forced Andrew off his usual line there. That's not ideal. If I'm right, if that is Owen, yes it is, who is a blue flag, then he should probably allow Andrew through at that point. And that's really offset Andrew ahead from Curler and Ashley. Gaining in the slipstream. As I said earlier, these cars sharing the same fixed setup around Silverstone, so all of them will have a similar straight line speed. I'm not sure about the fuel situation for these guys. Some may reap that benefit toward the end of the race. We've got just over 10 minutes to go here. Let's go back to see what happened to Steve Farrell earlier, just 2 laps ago, coming through Maggots and Beckett's. Is it an incident perhaps on the exit of Chapel? Has he... Oh, he's just oversteered, and that's easy to do. He's round, thankfully. He kept it out of the wall. The only close battle that we have on track is between Engelstad, Clark, Vella, Ashley and Curler at the moment. And these two are probably going to go wheel to wheel throughout the rest of this race. 10.5 minutes to go. Dennis will be keen to get a move on for that final place on the podium. Huge gaps up and down the field at the moment. And as I say, only these guys driving around, so we'll maybe just follow on with some guys, see how they're getting on, see if anyone's lines differ. But at the moment, it's just Curler and Ashley who are anywhere near another car as things stand. The outside goes Curler, thinks about it, not close enough to make a move. It's Engelstad on the back of Luis Nevea, but not a battle for position. It's P11 in the Premier class, ahead of the current Evo class leader of Luis Nevea. Lovely shot as they head over us there at the exit of Laffield. Johnny Terher doing well. The other quad dash racing machine, he started on the front row and he's kept that position throughout the entire race. The iron, I think, is slowly bringing that margin down. He's getting a little bit closer and he might have enough time here to make that stick. On the last lap, Yain was just a 10th quicker, but I think he's been consistently quicker for some time. Marianne still with that gap ahead and behind. And there's been a drama here for Filip Kolodzki as he headed into Village. As he carried a little bit too much speed on the oversteer? No. He just drops it on the exit there. Gets it slowed down and gets it moving away. Nice and quickly. Dennis Curler, as is Ashley Brooks and Dennis Curler. It's gone wrong for the men who were battling away for the podium. What's happened there? Is he on the power? Let's ride on board with that and see. How did that go wrong? He exits Stowe Corner nicely. Heads through Vale. Now let's listen. No, just drops it oversteer simply. It looked as though he got the power and the traction and then it went, but it just went before the traction. So a simple mistake to make. Oh, and then he's going to overcook the rears a little bit. And he gets moving in good time, rejoins safely. But that is the only battle for position, really, that we had on the cards. And Tristan Engelstad, in amongst that, did get past Luis Lavea. Let's see how that move was done. Through Copse Corner. I think he's just going to let him through. Yes, he is. Luis comes to one side. That's Tristan through, not to battle and risk that race win. Sparrow and Josh Ostick going toe-to-toe here. Going to and fro, exchanging positions. It's Ostick who comes out ahead at the moment, but now it's the run down toward Copse Corner. Let's see. Sparrow is on the inside line, comes over to give himself as much room as possible. Is Josh going to back out of this one? No, he's not. He's going to hang it around the outside. Room has to be left, and it has been. And Josh has actually held onto that one around the outside. It's nearly 3 wide. The car in behind. That's Aman Lal, who's got the pace, I'm sure, over these two guys. His last lap was the best part of a second quicker than both of these guys. He's got the run on Shapara at the moment. And he's alongside. You can see Spara just to the left-hand side. He's probably going to get the move done on the inside. He thinks about it. He's going to get the exit here. Are we going to see the check-up that we've seen somewhat at the exit of Club Corner, where it looks as though you're going to get the run, but then the little check-up just halts your progress a little bit. Let's see on this switchback. He's done quite well there, actually, my man, and he's put himself along the inside line. Keeps it nice and tight, and I think he might get that move done. Where's Sparrow in all this? Just dropped out of position, and that is a man ahead, separating himself and Ostick there. This is the battle for P7 in the Premier Class. So 3 cars battling for position at the moment. We saw Dennis Curler and Mike Richards going wheel to wheel. We'll catch up with that in a moment. A man very close there to Josh Ostick. Ahead, Weir and Richards have come together. I think that's a blue flag incident. Yeah. Oh, that's a big one. That is a big one for Seward. Wow. Let's watch on with this one. Seward coming through the rejoining car, and that... Wow. Wow, big impact there. Front right is completely gone. And that car is not going to see the light of day, blocking the pit exit, the pit entrance as well. And that is one damaged single-seater there. I think it was Richards there who... Well, no one's fault here in this initial moment, I don't think. But I just think he failed to hold his brakes, held them initially, and then released. And then held them again, and Seward, unfortunately, was taken out in that moment. This is a slow-moving Farrell here. There's been a pass. I think there's some damage here. Let's see how Sean Clark got past him. You can see the car there ahead. He's just already gone off the circuit on the right-hand side. And that is damage and his race over. Steve has entered the pit lane. Here he is now. That's going to be him done for a while. Sean Clark, though, has got Clyde Vella of the Premier class right behind him. Doesn't want to lose too much time. He's quite a way down on Luis Navarre for that Evo class win. But still, a podium on debut for Mr. Clark would be a great result if he can hold on. So he's let the Premier driver through wisely, but now he's got to be conscious that he's got AB Designs right on his back for MRC. And it looks as though Ashley is going to have got the better exit here. Lots of rooting for Sean there in the chat. Ashley making his presence known. It's DXT versus MRC at the moment. Ashley's got a great exit there. Sean is going to be compromised toward the run through Copse Corner. Is he still going to be alongside by the time they reach the corner? Let's see as the two drivers head through Copse. Just backs out. That's Ashley up into P2. Sean still hanging on to a podium. 7.5 seconds down, on Andrew Bellows there. And I think, yeah, is that Clyde who's let through? No, it's a blue flag. It's a blue flag somewhere. I'm not sure where that is, actually. A blue flag in between. Is that Will? Will Soper. Yes, it is. So Sean let another Premier driver through there, which is Will Soper ahead of... Sorry, behind Ashley Brooks. There's Dennis Curler and Patrick Heinen in a battle for position in the Evo class. This is a battle for a top 5 spot. And so far, goes the way of Curler. There's been a pass for the top 7 in the Premier Division. That's Josh Ostick who gets past Aman, and Aman, I think, has got an issue. He slows down. Lets him by. Is that perhaps a slowdown, maybe, for running too wide at the exit of Stowe through Vale? And an incident for Breitenbach. Oh, just gets up on the curb on the exit of the final corner and runs it off the circuit. Easily done. Oh, difficult one to recover from. Almost impossible, really. Backs it off the track nicely. Punch it back in first gear and get going again. Oh, never mind. Back in the barrier. Oh. That's Will round. Ashley and him have came together. Let's see how this one unfolded. Will hangs it round the outside through Luffield. And Ashley's just kind of driven through the back of him there, unfortunately. Easily done. Oh, and that's the checker. Totally missed that. My apologies. That then is Mr. Yain Stitchbury, who comes across the line to win the opening round. What happened to Gianni Terha? We'll have to see if we can catch that before the end of the session. But it's Yain, Marianne and Terha on the podium. Luis Navarre will come across the line shortly. And just bear with me while I see if I can find what happened with the leader. Here it is. The pass for the lead of the race on board with Yain Stitchbury. There's Gianni ahead as he just dropped it on the exit of the loop at Aintree. Yes, he has. Yain has to dip off the circuit to make that move stick, but that was easily done and a mistake in the end. Yain was definitely gaining. Here's some donuts by our class winner. He takes home the first Premier Division win of the season. And then it was Luis Nevea. He wins in the Evo class ahead of Ashley Brooks. And Sean Clark, what a debut for him, getting himself in the single seat that gets himself up onto the podium. And we'll have a run through of that final order. Let's hope then that Luis starts in P12, Yain starts in P1, Clyde starts in P13. Well, I mean, I guess a reverse grid wouldn't be so bad in this case, but I do feel a little bit bad for those who qualified well and probably got caught up in that incident, actually. So we have a 5-minute warm-up ahead of us. Cool. I've never tried that feature before, but I hope that came up on everybody's screen. It didn't last for very long though, did it? I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to use it, but it might be handy, particularly during this non-stewarded mini-series. If something does go wrong, maybe we can just bang a little race control message in there, but I don't need to dictate it that much, do I already? So at the moment then, nobody, I don't think, choosing to head out on track for a warm-up. All the guys hanging around the pit lane, so I'll get some fluid on board and we'll be back for the final race in just over 3 minutes' time. Okay, so we can now go through the results from that session. And first we'll bring you the results from the Premier Division. So Yain Stitchbury took the lead of the race toward the end of that stint after a spinning Johnny Tahar gave him that lead. Marianne Barberu took P2 ahead of Johnny Tahar, who still rounded off on the podium. Mikel Makeda in P4 ahead of Mike Farley in P5. Dano Hammond in P6 with Josh Ostick and Joe Sparrow the top 8. Aman Lal in P9 and John Breitenbach the top 10. Tristan Engelstad and Clyde Vella round off the top 12 ahead of Will Soper, Richard Van Veen, Steve Alexis Farrell and Marcel Breitenbach the top 16, with Danzo Clarkson finishing 3 laps down in P17. A look to the Evo standings now, and it's Luis Nevea who converts his first win of the season ahead of Sean Clark, who got back ahead of Ashley Brooks to take that P2. So congratulations to Sean on a great podium. Andrew Fellows rounding off that podium for Flatline Racing ahead of Dennis Köhler and Patrick Heinen in the top 5. Danny Weir and Michael Satovic in the top 7, with Ashley Brooks finishing down there in P8. Steve Derrick and Mark Robinson the top 10. Good result for Mark in his first outing with us in this series. Philippe Kolodski in P11 ahead of Nick Stubby in P12. Stephen Donnelly and Mike Richards the top 14, with Owen Seward and Joseph Preston finishing what will be outside of the results. I believe that Nick, Stephen and probably Mike will finish inside. Owen might as well, but unlikely that Preston will do, having finished 7 laps down in P16. Okay then, so we can soon have a look at the grid, which I hope will be in the same order, and I think it will be. So, Jan Stitchbury in finishing order leads the way ahead of Marian Peberu. We'll start on the front row of the grid. Janita Ha and Mikael Makeda on the second row ahead of Mike Farley and Dano Hammond on the third. Josh Ostick and Joe Sparrow the top 8, with Aman Lal and John Breitenbach the top 10. Tristan Engelstad and Luis Navarre starting on pole position in the Evo class ahead of Clyde Vella and Sean Clark, the top 14 on row 7. Andrew Fellows, Will Soper, Dennis Köhler and Patrick Heinen in the top 18, with Richard Van Veen and Danny Weir the top 20. Michael Statovic and Ashley Brooks the top 22, with Steve Derrick, Mark Robson in P24, Philippe Kolodski and Steve Alexis for IX. I said that before, now it's completely gone off my mind. Steve Farrell in P26, Nick Stubby in P27 ahead of Stephen Donnelly, Mark Richards, Marcel Breitenbach, Denzel Clarkson, Owen Seward and Joseph Preston as we get the lights, and we are underway. We have 3, 4, 5 lights, and Jan Stitchbury gets us underway and immediately comes off to cover the inside line. Instinctual racing there by Jan, who leaves his opposition with no option as the cars come steaming through turn 1, and already one of them off. That's Tristan Engelstad, who's been sent into space there clearly, and there's already carnage at the back. A second driver off. Nick Stubby dropping some positions. Richard van der Ven down the order as we enter Village, where it all went wrong for the last time. I'm hearing lots of stuff going wrong. There's more cars off, and everyone, God, these guys just can't seem to get through. There's another car upside down. There's more cars upside down. The contact model, oh dear me, the contact model does not seem very good there. Cars flying all over the place. And that is a lot of drivers involved once again in that early incident. We're seeing Stubby, Makeda, Donnelly, Richards, Köhler, Engelstad, Ostick, Breitenbach, Sparrow, Clark, Richards again. A third of the grid involved in an early incident. Now got Sean Breitenbach up the inside at Ashley Brooks as they head through Copse Corner. And there's a damaged rear wing there. Mikael Makeda with no rear wing. He's going to struggle for downforce as he heads through Copse. He might even spin the rear. If he's not careful, he is careful. And he keeps it in good shape. Yeah, that is that indeed, as some cars enter the pit lane here. We've got a battle right toward the front. P4 and P5. We're going to have to go back, aren't we, and see what happened at the race start at some point. But let's let the dust settle at the moment. So a man who started at the front row now back up into P5. Will Soper in behind him. He's got up 10 places at the start. Steve Farrell up 17. Ashley Brooks up 11. And a swap of positions here for what is P7 in class. P7 on the road. Michael Satovic and Filip Kolocki. Going side by side all the way around the left-hander at Luffield. Brooks and Dennis Curler, formidable rivals from the first race, going wheel to wheel once again, picking up where they left off, and Ashley comes across to cover him off there. But they've got Luis Nevea, the class winner, who will fancy his chances at getting a second top step tonight. That's right on board with him as he heads down the back straight. That's Ashley wide and deep. He might have a slowdown from there. Looks like Curler and Nevea and maybe a handful of others are going to get through. Dennis Curler takes the lead of the race. It could be in the hands of Nevea again by the time we reach Vale and Club, because he's going to be on the inside line if he can get his foot down. No, he can't quite. Is he going to lunge up the inside, try and take the move? Curler comes over to defend the inside line. Around the outside goes Nevea. Can't make it stick though, and already under company here from a Premier driver. This is Denzel Clarkson for Quad Dash Racing. And who's that in the wall? Is that Ashley who's hit the wall on the way into the pit lane there perhaps? That's Ash through the pit lane now. And Jan Stitchbury has got Marianne all over the back of him. Intrigued by the lines here by Marion as he sets his sights on the leader. Half a second to Jan Stitchbury. Puts himself in a great position to convert a race win. We said earlier he's one of the most experienced drivers on the grid and a professional coach to some degree. So it'll be interesting to see how he thinks about that. Dips out of the slipstream, trying to get the clean air in the entrance through Maggots. Now Beckett's a little bit wide, but he's going to get it tucked in nicely here over the Chapel Crest, over Chapel Curb, and down the Hanger Straight, the slipstream. Let's see, is it going to suck him in toward the back of the ORA Motorsports machine? Yain comes over to defend the inside line in good time. Still running on board with Marianne. We don't want to let this battle go for the lead, especially while we have one of them on the driver cams. Yain defends the inside line once again. Around the outside looks Marianne, going to get the switchback, took it in nicely. And he's going to get the run out of the corner, short shifting through third, letting the revs run out through 4 and up into 5th. This battle will continue. He's got the slipstream again, not going to be enough to get by through turn 1. Could think about a move going into the braking zone at turn 3. Into Farm Curve now, then Village, now on the outside line. Great racecraft by the pair of these drivers. Oh, that's a little bit up on the gravel there by Marianne. Would have just offset his line ever so slightly. And the exit and the pace coming out of the final corner will have a lot to catch up on once this battle's done. Thought he was going to go for it there. Downshift into third. Really steady on the steering, keeping it nice and tight. I think this would be his preferred line. We saw his line go a little bit wrong earlier on. But this is going to be something we can keep checking back at as the race goes on. I'm sure this will continue for some time. Okay, in the pit lane goes Mike Fowler now then. How is this battle doing? Marianne's still with him. I don't want to miss the lead of the race. At some point we'll go back and catch up with all the incidents. At least if we do get gaps, we've got plenty of things to look back at. Here's Marianne thinking about another move. All over the back and all up in Yayan's grill at the moment. You can see the ORA driver doing what he can to keep him behind, but I'm sure Yayan will relish the challenge at having someone as quick and as experienced as Marianne chasing him down in these darty little nippy single-seaters. So far then, we've got Philippe Kolodski, Ashley Brooks, Joseph Preston, Tristan Engelstad out of this race. Mike Richards, Danny Weir and Owen Seward under blue flags. We see Marianne thinking about a move, and that's huge net code there. They were like a whole tyre away from one another. Huge net code between Marianne and Yayan, and that upsets his exit. And he's now, all of a sudden, gone from challenging to the lead to defending the podium in the space of 100 metres here, has Marianne. I'm sad to say, I think that might be done and dusted. Let's see when they get to the inside line at the next corner, which a man will have. Working hard there at the steering is Marianne. And yeah, he's down 3 places there in a matter of corners. Unfortunate for him, got to get his head down. Still 20 minutes to go. Still plenty of time to keep up. Will Soper setting the fastest lap of the race, a 54.93. Is he going to think about a move? Yes, he is. It's a massive send. Does get it slowed down. Keeps it nice on the exit. Runs out wide. Allows the switchback for the car behind. And he's going to defend that place, I believe, going down the Wellington Straight. Oh, my mistake. You just excuse yourself there. You get over there. I noticed a number incorrectly on the timing sheet there, the 29 of Mikael Makeda, but he is in the Premier class. It must have just been that he perhaps maybe accepted the league invite after I'd loaded into the session, and so I haven't been able to overwrite his race number. That should be 127. So we'll get that corrected. Marianne having to defend now into turn 1. That looked like Cop's Corner there, but it's turn 1. He has lost the position. Let's cut back and see some other action up and down the track. Never mind, this is the action that we need to be. It's gone from bad to worse, and that is Marianne in the barrier there. That's his race done and dusted, unfortunately for him. He sent it up the inside into Village, and he couldn't make it stick. So Curler leading the way, 7 seconds ahead of Statovic, who was 6.5 seconds ahead of Mark Robinson, who will be under pressure by Nick Stubb very shortly to defend that podium place in the Evo standings. He is the Glass Tech Racing driver. First time I've ever said that. on comms actually, and we watch him as he heads down toward Copse Corner. It's going to be forced to the outside line by Mark Robinson. Is he going to try and fight that? Nick Stubb gets the move done, I think. Yes, he has. Lovely move around the outside at Copse. That's him up onto the podium. Up 14 places at the start. Side by side, the exit of Luffield. This is Steve, Derek and Patrick Heinen. Patrick Heinen, the South African number 23 machine, gets himself up past Derek. That lovely classic barbecue bread racing livery, which we've seen on multiple cars, mostly GT3s, over the last few seasons. And I think, did it win livery of the season not so long ago? With the classic design by the Brayton backs, so good to see that being used on these super formulas. And that's Steve Derrick, who thinks about a move. He's moved to the outside line there. We can just about see the front wing of the car to his inside there. Let's see. There he is. Defending it, backs out. And that's the position retaken by Steve there. So now, I think it's probably a good time, now that things have died down ever so slightly, to go back and see if we can make a picture of what happened at the race start. So, the first one is with Mike Richards, who I think, is that the black livery or the green livery? Let's see. Oh, just a minor contact. Gets spun round, and that is him backed out. Next one is Sean Clark. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he's just been contacted there on the rear. Oh, and then he can't. Oh, wow. I missed that one. That is a huge one. So let's see. I think, is that Dennis Curler in behind him? No, it's Ashley Brooks, who just doesn't get it slowed down. And then, yeah, the contact model, really not great on these cars. That is him through and round. And then what happened later on, it's Joe Shapara, the next driver involved. Through Village we go. Runs off wide, rejoins the circuit fine, sends it too late, up and over. And then he just kind of gets himself off the circuit. A lot of drivers then having to back out of that one. And then I think, oh, no, that's Tristan Engelstad already in the wall. Is this another late dive perhaps? No, it's 3 into 1, doesn't go. That's Spara involved in that one. And then I think there was one more follow-up there, a little bump. More cars, yeah, more bumps. And yeah, look at that. I mean, the DXT machine should not be upside down there off that level of contact. So lots to be worked on, I think, by iRacing to get that resolved, because that's not really realistic in any sense of the word, really. And then is this the checkup? Yeah, and just bouncing all over the place. Okay, well, at least we've understood a little bit of the picture about what went wrong there. Since then, though, let's see, has there been any more incidents? Mike Fowler had an incident on lap 5. This is him heading through Luffield. Is it his own mistake? Perhaps a bit of oversteer on the exit. Yes, it is. Gets a little bit of a snap. Can't catch it. Does catch it. And then stops and says, I've had enough. This one through Maggots and Beckett's for Clive Vella, the 104 machine in the Premier class. Again, another snap. We've seen that once before. That was Steve's mistake earlier. Clyde now this time. And then Luis Nevea. Is he going to follow up this time? Head through Maggots. Heads through Beckett's. And is it oversteer? Yes, it is. So many drivers getting caught out. Now, is it going to be 3 for 3? No, it's not. Stephen Donnelly getting caught up in a different incident here. This is Village. Sends it up the inside. Oh, that's very minor contact. And then he spins out. Must have just got a little bit too trigger happy there. Nick Stubb had an incident after we just cut away. This is when Nick has lost it. Heat 2 on the exit. God, so many of those cars getting caught out and ending up in such a similar place. Nick did well to make that podium up. Surely not another one. Oh, wow, that's a big impact. Let's watch that from the gyro. I think, is that Fellows perhaps the car ahead? I'm not too sure, just basing it off the livery. Flatline car loses it. And yeah, Richard probably could have better reactions there, just to avoid that spinning car. You could see him going. And I think he just kept it pinned a little bit too long there. So just under 12 minutes to go before we wrap up the racing for this evening. Next up has had another incident. Let's go back and see what's happened. Is it just damage perhaps from earlier on? The little spin. Is it another snap of oversteer at the exit of Luffield? Yes, it is. The cars are having full. The tyres could be shot. And he just spins it round and finds himself parked up in the middle of the circuit. Nice little pirouette though to get going again. It's been another massive incident for Marianne because he's gone from challenging for the lead and now he's a lap down in P27. So unfortunate for Marianne, not the debut that he would have hoped for, but he's still got some good racing done under his belt. Currently then, oh, in the pit lane comes Marcel, so he has had a problem as well. Jan Stitchbury still leading the race, got that first win, and he's currently looking to convert another one, but he's got the Dutchman of Ter Haar in behind him, and they're closely followed by the man who needs retribution after that mistake on the service side. Aman Lal, who should have started on pole position, could have run away with it with the incident that he inevitably got caught up in through Village at the start of the first race. He'll be keen to stay on the back of these guys in what is the final 10 minutes to try and get back some of those points. Nick's gone again. I'm not going to highlight that, but he's had another spin. I guess his tyres are absolutely shot after a couple of those pirouettes. Oh, that's a massive, massive speed there. Next up, struggling still with those tyres, I think, because the speed that Philip carried there compared to Nick was outrageous, really. Ter Haar now within a second. No DRS in these cars, I don't think. I haven't actually been paying attention to that, actually. It'd be interesting if there is, but I don't think there is. And so, no advantage to being within 1 second of the driver ahead. But Ter Haar slowly gaining. However, he was 5/1000ths of a second slower on that last lap, but not a massive margin. Any slight mistake in what will be the final handful of laps here could be really costly and could give the Dutchman the race lead. Nick Stubbs, night's over. He's back in the pit lane. An opening round to forget for him. And Dennis Curler with a huge gap there. 12.5 seconds down to Michael Shatovic. And Stephen Donnelly getting himself up on the podium as well. 9 drivers out of the race and a further 9 down on the not on the lead lap anymore. But the battle for the lead, the battle for the podium is going to be well and truly on. I feel we've got drivers probably in some sort of inverted pace order as we see those times come across the line. I'm completely wrong. Jan Stitchbury doing very, very well. 2/10 up on Gianni and a 10th up, or half a 10th up on Aman. It's been an incident down there for Stephen Derrick. Let's see what happened to him. An easy spin at the exit of Village. Easily done. We've been seeing many people do exactly that throughout the session tonight. Luis Nevea is in the pit lane. That's another driver who was right up there in the top 3 of the Premier class, who is now out of this race with an issue as well. A little bit run wide there, I think. Did Yain, perhaps? Has he upset his line? That's right on board with Johnny C. Yes, it is. Here we go, making the most of that slipstream. Going to force Yain to defend, and all of a sudden, a man could be invited into this. Let's see how much he gains while these two fight. Really got to pick his breaking point and try and capitalise while these two battle. It might be wise for Johnny not to send a move here. Not to allow a man up the inside. A small lock of the front left. Thereby, I believe it was Gianni, and that's really invited pressure now. Aman Lal all over the back of both of these drivers, and we're really going to see a battle here in the final 6 minutes to decide who gets on the top step of the podium. It's exactly what you want to see, and similar to earlier with Marianne, Gianni has gone from fighting for the lead to having now to defend against the encroaching Aman for P2 as it stands. Oh, a snap of oversteer there under the rear wing, losing downforce, but he's still got a good run. All the while, Yain extending that gap. It should be over a second by the time they reach the braking zone. It is 1.4 seconds clear, and that is Aman Lal up into P2. Is he going to be able to get the switch back? Gianni, it's defended well. He's looking to go around the outside. It's not going to happen. And that is him through and up into P2, and he can now set his eyes on Yain Stitchbury ahead. Unless Gianni can think about a move through Cops. Let's see. Just to hang it around the outside. He's still there. He's going to be forced around the outside into Maggots, but he'll have... Oh, look at that. Great move. Great move by Gianni here. He's going to lose the inside line. Is he going to swing it up? And the... yeah. Oh well. It was nice while it lasted. That's a man in the wall, and you could kind of see it coming. Not enough room left by Terhar there, sadly. And that's a little bit of damage on the front right of that... sorry, the front left of that single-seater. And that's promoted Hammond up into the podium, and he is now all of a sudden on the back of this pack. And Will Soper now involved as well. Another lock-up by Gianni Terhar. That's twice in 2 laps in the same corner. And is now under pressure here, as we see, going to have to defend. Yain clear away now. 6 seconds gone up the road, so that's another race win for Yain, almost guaranteed. On the brakes is Hammond, gets the rear to step out and turned in. Mega rotation. Another lock-up. Johnny struggling. Brakes overheating a little bit, giving them too much pressure as he turns the steering wheel. And now down here, he's exposed himself. He's going to lose the inside line to Hammond, and it could be an easy move for him to make here. A little bit of a jink. Down the inside line goes Hammond, and Terhar gives him the space. Was that another lock-up we saw there by Terhar? Really, really struggling on these brakes at the moment. Is Will going to be able to get the run out of the corner and have it go from bad to worse for Terhar? A man 7 seconds back on these guys, so he's not going to be in this pack much longer. The inside line is the Conehead Racing's machine. Around the outside, sticks it. Terhar, let's watch this on board again. We saw this time last lap. Gianni trying the same move. Very close once again. Gianni going around the outside. This time though, I think Will's going to get that move done, and he's up into P3. Very wide, both of them off the tarmac on either side of the circuit, but that's Will who hangs on. Gianni drops back, and something tells me that might be the podium settled in the final 2.5 minutes here. Oh, Gianni, he's gone. Oh, he's in the pit lane. I thought he made a mistake, but he's fully gone now. And entering the pits. I want to just flick through a couple of these drivers who I maybe haven't given too much screen time to tonight. There's an incident for Shatovic as well. Let's see. Oh, carried a lot of speed there. Yeah, over rotation. Managed to get it from stop it from spinning round. Good recovery in the end, but I think you could just see he did carry a little bit too much speed into club corner there. A reappearing green livery there on the right-hand side of the circuit. There he is. In the Pro GT green. Ride on with the iron very shortly in what will be potentially the final lap. We'll soon see. Go then. Is it the white flag? Let's see. Let's ride on board here. Or do we have one more lap? I think it definitely will be. The white flag over the sausage goes Steve. No, I don't think it is the white flag. I didn't see the man in the gantry waving it. No, he's not. He stood there. So we'll go around twice more. Ryan Situ with that commanding lead. 7 seconds ahead of Dano Hammond. And then we'll stop at 3 seconds behind him. Two quad-dash machines here of Denzel and Gianni, sharing the same piece of tarmac, currently in P7 and P8 in the Premier class. There he is then, Mr. Iron Stitchbury is about... Oh, it is going to finish. Okay, I missed the checkered flag. Good thing I caught him then. So, for the second time this evening, Iron Stitchbury comes across the line to win the feature race this time. And it's a perfect start for the ORA machine and its driver. Dano Hammond comes across the line to finish in second. And Will Soper rounds off the podium in the Premier class. Here's John Brayton back ahead of Aman Lal battling toward the line. But that's going to be it. It's P5 that Aman has to settle for. Steve Farrell in P6, Denzel Clarkson P7, Johnny Terhar in P8. And here is Dennis Curler, the 42 machine German driver who wins it in the Evo division. Good result for Dennis ahead of Joe Sparrow P9 in the Premier class. Stephen Donnelly, his teammate, will round off the second spot on the podium in the Evo class. Then we've got 2 more Premier drivers of Clyde and McHale. And then Michael Statovic rounds off the podium in that what is an alternate Ferrari livery for STM there. Mark Robinson, he's had a good night considering his expectation to come across in P4. He'll be more than happy with that. 16 seconds and there he is, giving us an absolutely spectacular finish. That car just imploded upon impact. That was quite funny actually. Here's Luis Nevea in P5, Philippe Kolodski in P6, Marcel Breitenbach in P13, Patrick Heinen still coming around the final corner to round off the last of the finishers. 13 drivers unable to finish the race. It looks as though that is going to be all she wrote. Let's take a look at the race results then before we close out for the session. So, twice tonight, Jan Stitchbury finishes on the top position of the podium ahead of Dano Hammond for Unity Racing in P2 and Will Soper for Conehead Racing rounding off the podium. Sean Breitenbach and Aman Lal the top 5, with Steve Farrell in P6 and Denzel Clarkson in P7 for Quad Dash Racing, closely followed by his teammate Johnny Terha, who finishes in P8. Joe Sparrow and Clyde Vella the top 10 ahead of Mikhail Makeda in P11. Josh Ostick, the second of the ORA Motorsports machines, in P12. Marcel Breitenbach in P13, the last of the finishers, with Richard Van Veen, Marianne Beberu, Mike Fowler and Tristan Engelstad unable to finish. And for the Evo class then, it's Dennis Curler who arrives across the line first with a huge gap of 14 seconds ahead of Stephen Donnelly for JSD Racing in P2. Michael Sotovic in P3 and Mark Robinson, Luis Nevea rounding off the top 5. Philippe Kolodski in P6 ahead of Patrick Heinen P7, with Stephen Derrick, Andrew Fellows and Mike Richards the top 10. Sean Clark and Nick Stubby in the top 12, with Joseph Preston finishing 13 laps down. Ashley Brooks, Owen Seward and Danny Weir the same. And really there, only half of those guys are really going to get any points. The bottom 4 will not. Nick might just be within the threshold. We'll have to figure that one out. And then P11 upwards will be classified. So then, that is going to be all for this opening round. And there will be no interviews tonight because I've got to check the incident file, see if there's anything notable to mention to the drivers. But I think the impression there is that the netcode and the damage model is less than ideal. So I appreciate everybody for watching on. The action and the comments have been good tonight. Until next week, in fact, we won't be driving next week. I'll be doing it from the replay file. So there'll be no GT4 or SFL live broadcast next week. Then we will be live on Sunday, the following Sunday for GT4. We'll be live the following Monday for GT4 round 9. Then SFL round 3 will not be broadcast on the Tuesday, and that will be recovered the following weekend. Then we'll be back for the final round of GT4 the following Monday, and then back in shape for SFL finale that same week as well. So a little bit of a mixed format, a mixed schedule, should I say. Busy time, but nonetheless, I'm sure the guys had good fun in those machines. For now, though, I hope you enjoy the rest of the week. And for those racing on Thursday, good luck in advance. And we'll see you all in a couple of weeks' time.